There we go. Just for this one time. Just for this one time. Alright. Welcome. You must be surprised seeing me like this. Because I'm pretty sure my current channel right now, I still have my full afro on. But as you can see, it's daytime outside. It's I'm not wearing my jacket. Henry is in the far back and all that good stuff. This is a good indication that this is a little special video that I decided to record when there is a specific number of subscribers reached. It has been reached for a while now. I just never had the chance to record this. And this is also a rarity as well, what I'm doing for this video specifically. The author has actually reached out to me and said, hey, I'm going to rewrite 821. Would you like to reread it when it's done? And I told them, I was like, okay, that sounds pretty cool. I'll be down for that. Now I'm saying it's a special occasion because I usually don't reread SCPs, but it is a fully rewritten one. It still has like I actually checked the older one, which is way shorter. But it still has to do with Dixie. But yeah, no, I feel like if it's rewritten, I don't see why not going back a number. And I mean rewritten like fully new. I don't mean like, oh, they fixed a sentence. Like that doesn't count. So yeah, I think we will give it a shot by reading. I think it's called. Go back, please. I think it's still called Dixie's Fun Fair. Yeah, well, before it was, I believe, called Dixie's Fun Land. But now it's called Dixie Fun Fair. And out of respect for that person, I should real quickly be professional about this. The author's name, at least. Yeah, okay. We have Anonymous Uncle Nicolini and Curious. Curious is the one who asked me if I wanted to reread it. So, again, Anonymous, so we don't know who that person is. Uncle Nicolini and Curious, Aquarius, not Curious. Well, technically, both. And I'm just going to open the pages up just in case there's some extra information that I can tell about them. Well, wow, this page is curious. This page is your office page is nice. I like this. Damn. Okay. I see you. Collaboration. Brick. Well, this is a long one too. Cool. I like that. Oh, I like that. Forgotten memories. Forgotten stories. Anomalies found. Okay. Entry pieces. Wait. Event. Tier pieces, okay. Collaborations, which I wonder if that's. What is 821 in this list right now? Well, we'll ask him when I get the chance. And Uncle Nicolini, you also have a very wonderful. Oh, this is nice. God damn, that's a lot of work. Okay. But without further ado, I do have a lot to read today. So let's go right into Dixie Fun Fair, shall we? Also, let me get rid of that, the chat for you guys, because we don't have that. We're not live streaming, we are recording, so we don't need this in no way. There we go. Alright, Dixie Fun Fair. Her voice echoes as autumn breezes slide through your open eaves, settling by the hearth. On any other night, you would curl by the flames, warm yourself as the fires lick your toes. Also, I need to check that because voice changer keeps voice meter. No, I think it's voice changer, right? Yeah, they keep like changing my priority mic, which I hate. On any other night, you would curl by the flames, warm yourself as the fires lick your toes. Tonight, you have a different plan. Tonight, there's no time to waste. The carnival is in town. One last time, she will be waiting for you. What's the what's the monster called? The urban legend called in Japan. It's like a really tall woman that kidnaps children. I'm pretty sure some of you freaks know what I'm talking about. I'm saying that because it's a lot more like romanticized and sexualized nowadays, but that's why I'm saying I should have charged up my fucking anime glasses, man. This would have been perfect. Oh well. Containment class save. Secondary class pending neutralized. Disruption class Flam. Risk class notice. Special containment procedures. Daily inspections of SCP-821's exterior structure are to be performed by security personnel, with any significant changes being reported to the containment supervisor. A fence has been erected around the area containing SCP-821, which is to be inspected via drone on a monthly basis. Due to the minimal human traffic in proximity to SCP-821, any substantial display of personnel would cause more harm than benefit. Foundation personnel are not to enter or approach SCP-821's area of effect unless deemed necessary by the containment supervisor. Following the discovery of additional anomalous properties of SCP-821, further containment efforts have been paused due to irrelevance. As such, SCP-821 cannot and should not be modified, maintained, repaired, or otherwise changed from its current state. Any actions taken by the Foundation staff should prioritize conservation of information instead. Okay, so just make sure it stays the way it is. Don't let it morph. Description: SCP-821 is the former site of the Dixie Faire, a fairgrounds that was primarily in operation between approximately 1954 and 1979, and then again between 2009 and 2014. And Faire has a footnote that says, also known as the Dixie Pleasure God. Huh? Huh? It does not help that I made the the reference to the Japanese urban legend before. Now it's a pleasure garden. Okay, I see. Hampstead Bros Circus, Funland, and Ethosland. Okay. SCP-821 consists of a series of structures and facilities arranged around a main midway, the Artist's Way. Records of the construction are minimal, as the majority of construction and development was carried out informally and without the authorization of local governments. Due to this, many of the structures do not adhere to any building codes and are in a major state of disrepair, undergoing continual and permanent degradation. Any and all attempts at maintenance or restoration have failed and have since been fully paused pending reclassification. SCP-821 remaining structures serve a variety of purposes, mainly focused on entertainment and artistry. The structures were constructed across multiple eras of the fair, and each possess distinct visual styles. These range from a carousel to theaters, midway stands, food and souvenir kiosks, and more. Food. I don't know why I said food like that. Imagine if somebody actually did say it like that, though. I mean, there probably is an accent that makes it sound like makes food sound like food. Probably, who knows? During the initial containment of SCP-821, approximately 68% of all structures were in a functional condition, a number that has decreased over time. Don't mind me. Also, I'm taking some zips from my Gamer cups right there, Gamer Subs cup right here. With the beautiful cinder on it. And delicious. Throughout the fairground's later years of operation, maintenance and daily tasks were performed by automatons, both humanoid and non-humanoid, designated -1. These instances range in appearance from person-like constructs composed of painted copper to abstract or animalistic machines. Following the closure of the grounds in 2014, every instance of -1 was rendered inert. -A refers to an ongoing mimetic effect which causes individuals to experience echoes of events that took place within SCP-821 during operation. -A creates the echoes through the use of a circle class hermeneutic to draw context from the latent memories from the inhabitants, guests, and operators of SCP-821. I need my fucking slippers on. It's cold in here. Yes. These echoes appear as intangible, translucent figures commonly referred to as ghosts. Dash A is capable of producing auditory, visual, olfactory, and gustatory stimulus when observed. The intensity of these sensations has decreased since initial containment. So, auditory, visual, olfactory. Is olfactory like... What's olfactory? Relating to the sense of... Okay, so it is smell. And I guess gustatory must be the sense of taste? Yes. Nice, okay. I wonder where the word comes from. Olfactory and gustatory. I wonder where those words... Like, the original... The origin of these words. Stimulus when observed. The intensity of these sensations has decreased since initial containment. At this time, it is not understood what causes Dash A instances to appear. Yeah, hold up. If Zeno was here, he would be like, I have to make sense of this. Zeno would be the one in the paranormal group that refuses to believe that something paranormal happened. He's like, no, there must be some logical explanation for this. And then even if Zeno is the Mr. Fantastic from the Marvel universe, where like he has worked with people that use magic, but he refuses to believe that magic is a thing. The sights and sounds are always blinding. Thank God you're used to it by now. Every flash of light is anticipated. Each calliope note in perfect harmony. Is it calliope? Each calliope note in perfect harmony. Each buzzer, noise, scream, shout, laughter. Everything is choreographed down to the microsecond. The Faire is alive, and everybody hears part of our blood. You hear that shit? Henry! You hear that? Actually, what would Henry Cam look like right now? Ah, well, not correct. Not correct, but yeah. Henry! Can you believe this? All part of the blood, Henry. You included. And then 1, history. SCP-821 has operated under a lot... By the way, Uncle Nicolini and Curious, excellent job on how this page looks. Excellent job on like on the extra art and work you put behind that. That is beautiful. It makes it stand out. We love an SCP that stands out. And then 1, history. SCP-821 has operated under a large number of management teams, brand identities all across multiple eras, each attempting to be as big, if not bigger, than the last. Whenever a new group took over operation of SCP-821, the structures were not destroyed and were instead added to or modified. Oh, and then we know that's no bueno. Nicht gut. Das ist nicht gut. Ein paar Leute würden sogar sagen, das ist schlecht. A false is a summary of each major era of SCP-821, including relevant anomalous effects and notable elements. By the way, for everybody who doesn't understand German what I just said, I said that's not good. That's not good. Some people might even say that's bad. So just in case you are curious or don't understand, yeah. Before the construction or operation of any variant of SCP-821, the location was originally the site of a large farm, which operated during the early 1900s. Yeah, 1900s, right? Before being abandoned post-Great Depression and left to degrade. Of course, the Great Depression. It's about time. The Great Depression plays a role in the SCP universe. The site stood empty for decades prior to the establishment of SCP-821. I heard a weird noise, and I'm not sure if that came from my body, if that came from my chair, if that came from outside, if that came from my room or anything. I'm not even sure if you guys heard that noise and if it's just me. Is this what happens when you read like almost 2,400 SCPs and you go nuts? You go cuckoo for crazy puffs. The sites were empty for decades prior to the establishment of SCP-821 and appear to display no notable anomalous properties. And actually, I kind of want to look at this picture. That's a lot of sparse. That's a lot of sparse right here. Imagine that. All this. And it's just anomalous effect happening on it. And you still like, wow. Whoa. Addendum 1A, Dixie's Pleasure Garden. Okay, here we go. Here we go now. I'm just joking, by the way. It might just be normal. And I say that, and then paragraph 2 is like the most diabolical degeneracy I ever read. That would be funny. But it's probably not the case. Constructed in 1954, Dixie's Pleasure Garden was created by American immigrant and local business magnate Jonathan Dixie to meet what he saw as the demand for themed entertainment. The land was chosen for the energy Jonathan Dixie felt when first visiting. He was quoted in a local paper as saying, It's the land. There's something special about it. I felt with every step I took, each time I inhaled. In every corner of the park, there was already something there. Just waiting for a way to be seen, to be remembered. I was walking in the footsteps of my ancestors. I chose this place to give them another chance at life. Wild thing to say about a circus. You walk around a park and you're like, I can feel it. Ooh, I can feel the music inside me. And everybody's like, what? Dixie's Pleasure Garden, postcard SCP-821, circa 1956. It's a lovely place. It's a lovely place. For sure. Let's smack a circus on top of that. Yeah. That's what we like. An opening, Dixie's Pleasure Garden consists of a large central open-air pavilion surrounded by flower gardens and landscaping. Tickets for Dixie's Pleasure Garden was priced at $0.25 per adult and gave access to the grounds as well as the provided entertainment. Entertainment consisted of musical and theatrical performance taking place in the central pavilion. Now, let's see how much that would have costed nowadays. Inflation calculator. There we go. I'm pretty sure that's the right thing to do. Can I, yeah, just fucking leave me alone. So here we go. Let's go to 1956, right? Oh, this is in pounds. I thought I could change it to, like, you know, dollars. Okay, hold on. Dollar. I want it in dollars, please. Yeah, fuck off. So, 56. 0.25. Wow. That's a $32 ticket. Is it? Oh, never mind. It's calculated $1 from before. That's a 2. Oh, you know, that's not too bad. Like $3 for adult for a circus show. Damn, boy. Damn, that's not bad. If it was actually $32, I'd be like, are you fucking... No. Dixie's Pleasure Garden opened from 1954 to 1957 to moderate success, having been featured in local newspapers. Visitors consisted of predominantly locals with occasional guests from out of state. Despite this success, operations ceased abruptly in October 1957 due to the death of Jonathan Dixie. As a result of complications surrounding the inheritance of the land and business, operations would not resume until 1958 season, at which point it would reopen under a different name. Wow, that's fast. unless he had that organized beforehand. That's pretty fast to like have somebody take over. Addendum 1B, Dixie Fun Fair. Look at that. Does look like fun though. In the 1958 season, the park reopened with the name Dixie Fun Fair, an attempt to bring more families and younger visitors to the park. Yeah, I guess before it was just kind of like for adults just to like relax. It's still weird to call it Pleasure Garden. Why not just relaxation station? I know they didn't try to like make rhymes back then with like businesses, but still. Dixie's decompress deck. I don't know, something like that. Okay, here we go. Bring more families here. Jonathan Dixie's son, Jonathan Dixie II, or Jr., better known as JD's Jr., there we go, took the reins after his father's passing and revitalized the park, focusing on creating a midway and providing rides and themed entertainment for the visitors. You know what's wild? How the word junior, we always associated with a son. Like, you know, like a son or a daughter that like has the same name as the parent. But it's interesting how like you could technically use it for another family member. Like an uncle could have a name and you could share the uncle's name and be still called Junior. Technically. I know that nobody does that, but it's just very interesting to think about, like, yeah, you could be called Junior, even though it's not from your father's name or from your mother's name. Actually, I think it only works for sons, right? Junior's for sons. Am I wrong? I could look it up, but I'm going to continue reading. Focus on creating midway and providing rides and themed entertainment for the visitors. This expansion was meant to try and grow what made Dixie's Pleasure Garden work without compromising the ideals of either Jonathan Dixie. That's nice. With the reopening of the Dixie Fun Fair, park attendance swelled. Tourism grew to encompass visitors from both nearby towns and states, with the park garnering a reputation for thrilling rides and winnable midway games. JD Jr. was quoted at the time as saying, "My father had the right idea. Build a world that you want to explore, and the rest will come to you. The thing about the business of fun is that you need to create a place where you can really believe that you are a winner. At Dixie Fun Fair, everybody's a winner, from the smallest child to the oldest adult. All are welcome. This is the place for you." Sounds a bit too nice. sounds a bit The Greatest Showman nice, you know? Happy ever after. At the end, view of unknown ride at Dixie Fun Fair, SCP-821, circa 1959. Unknown ride. It would be so funny if it like if it's like unknown ride, like if it's like you have this like typical like old school fun fair look, right? But then in the background there's just like a Disneyland ride from like the 2020s, and you're like, how did this get here? What? How did this happen? Over the next decade, park operation would continue in a similar manner, with rides being changed as parts failed or interest waned. The only rides that would survive beyond the mid-1960s would be the Dixie Carousel and the Dixie Fun Fair. Fun Fair is real. I see what you did. Which remained operational throughout the rest of the park's life. In the fall of 1966, an announcement was made by JD Jr. regarding the future of the park. Hello, treasured guests and dedicated collaborators. My father believed in a place where all were welcome and none would feel uncomfortable. I've been chasing that ideal, trying to capture the spark in the ball that inspired him. For the past 8 years, it has been my absolute pleasure to guide the Dixie Fun Fair to new heights. Unfortunately, the situation has changed. I am no longer myself, and I cannot stop the inevitable. What happened to you, bro? I'm no longer myself? Like, what happened? Did you take drugs? Because that would be my first instinct if my boss said that. Actually, in the 1950s, probably not. In the 1950s, I'd be like, I'm no longer myself. Like, oh, maybe he's not happy with who he became. We cannot afford to keep paying for fair wages while operating with the values and objectives that made the company what it is today. I'm haunted by the specters of the past and the echoing voices that have become trapped in the very place I love most of all. They will not leave me alone. I must abandon the Faire. Now, when he says voice of the past, as he inspectors, it does say that you see ghosts. So maybe I wonder if he saw ghosts and then thought he was going crazy, and that's why he was like, I gotta stop. This place is not good for my mental health. Following the above memorandum, JD Jr. disappeared along with multiple key leaders in Dixie Fun Fair, leaving the park in a state of chaos and disarray. The whereabouts of all individuals are unknown to this day. The park will remain closed for the next year before reopening on a new. This is interesting how like there's always new management. First we had Jonathan Dixie and he died, and now then we have JD Jr. and then he left. He did last longer than his father when it comes to like how long the park had, because the park was only open with under the father's name for 3 years. He added 5 more years on top of that. That's pretty good. Let's see how it continues. The grinding metal howled overhead as he took a drink from a cheap, dirty bottle. Thankfully, the sun had set, even if that did nothing about this heat. Between the flashing lights and sirens of the midway, the roar of the rides overhead, amongst the laughing children and the giggling adults, there was another noise that you just couldn't shake. Each night, at the same time, right as you stood in your stall, a shadow would pass in front of the booth, a shadow that looked both unrecognizable and distinctly familiar to you, but you could never quite put your finger on it. Every evening, the shadow would pass by, and through the chaos and claxons of the fun fair, you thought you made out some words. One day, people will remember the name Dixie. Whatever you say. And then in 1C, Hampstead Bros Circus. So that this is cool. I like that. Like the log was basically saying like, hey, these are the different names that the Dixie's Fun Fair was called, and now we actually get to see each individual era of that fun fair with the names attached. Because a lot of times in the SCP Foundation, sometimes they name drop a different name that like whatever the anomaly was called, but they never go into like details of why. You can make your own like conclusion a lot of times, of course, but there's a couple times where they just be like, it's also considered this, and it's like, but why? Why is it like that? Of course, this gives a much more a better approach at that attempt, because we have like, oh, it's been active since the 1900s, and then each different name is, of course, means it had a different leader, different owner of the fun fair. So it makes sense. Like I said, I'm not going to say like every SCP needs to now explain every like little detail about an SCP, because that can also be overkill. But I just like that about this one, that you have a story reason to explain each individual name that the circus got. Okay. In the spring of 1967, local papers reported that the Dixie Fun Fair had been sold to 3 brothers, former employees of the park. These 3 men, Orville, Orion, and Ogden, the triple O's, okay, Hampstead, were self-described carnies who had worked on the Midway for a number of years before the disappearance of J.D. Jr. The experiences they had impacted them to the point where they felt it was their duty to continue their legacy. And probably like very similar to like Herman Fuller's circus, where like a lot of them feel like family. I wonder, do you think Dixie's Fun Fair and Herman Fuller like collaborated? Like they worked together once, or like they knew about each other? Curious. Following JD's disappearance, the remaining management of the park made a deal with the Hampstead brothers, giving them the land and ownership over operation of the park for an undisclosed sum. And here we have a painting of Hampstead Bros Midway SB 821, circa 1967. Ooh, I like this one. KW. Hold on. I would like to see what pops up. Caroline Whitman. Okay. Jahrmarkt. Okay, cool. I wonder how you guys found this one. Because that's a German... Jahrmarkt is like... Yeah, it's a market, a year market. That's very much like... Yeah, it's a German word to say amusement park when like that comes up once a year. So, very clever, very well chosen painting, gotta say. I see your work. I see what you're doing. On Bridge of the Park for undisclosed sum, and then we have the footnote saying Foundation research suggests that this sum totaled $8.21 and a gallon of blood. The gallon of blood again. Well, not the gallon of blood, but blood is mentioning a couple times. So I am wondering. The three brothers had a transformative plan: take the land and existing midway, modify the open air pavilion to serve as a big top, and reopen the park as the Hamster Bros Circus. They were quoted as saying that we want to salvage and use everything we can to keep the heart of the park. The new park would feature live entertainment. A large troop of carnies would live in a semi-permanent housing development in the northwestern section of the park known as Carney Rose, as well as a new main attraction of the park, a nightly circus performance with clowns, acrobats, animals, and more. Does it really keep the heart of the park if you replace the name to Hamster Bros? It feels like I feel like if you want to like keep his legacy alive, you would keep the Dixie, you know, because that's how it started with Jonathan Dixie. So for me, I would say renaming it to Hamster Bros shows you that not only do they, yes, they still want to keep the circus alive, but they also want to like kind of like form it into something that they always wanted. You know, it's like if I went up to Hollywood, and I was like, okay, listen, all you suits in here, get out. I'm the new boss, but I'm gonna keep Hollywood the same. Don't worry, I will take care of it. And next thing you know, instead of Hollywood, it just says wood on the shield. Like I just take the Holly out of it, just Afro wood, and I'm like, you know that see, people would look at that and be like, okay, that's clearly being influenced. When the park reopened, it saw immediate success. Attendance soaring as residents flocked to see the new show, participate in the updated games, and stay for the massive grounds that were filled with activities for all ages. To accommodate this new traffic, employees were offered housing in exchange for reduced pay. It's estimated that between 20 to 50 carnies, including clowns, other attractions, and children, lived at the park during this time. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's like you can live here and eat here. Despite the efforts, the success would be short-lived. In December of 1970, after 3 years of declining profits and mismanaged staff, the Hamster Bros Circus closed its doors to guests. For the next few years, the carnies would continue to live in the remains of the park. Orville Hampstead left the United States to try again in Canada to minor success. Orion Hampstead retired to a small cabin in northern Maine and lived the rest of his life in obscurity. What about so Will and Orion are gone, but what about Ogden? Is he the only one who's like, I have to keep going? But yeah, see, that's what I mean. Like, declining profits and mismanaged staff. Like, they tried to make their own dream come true, but they definitely did not really pay attention to how that shit works. At least that's how it comes across. I might be looking too deep into it and interpreting wrong, but that's how I see it. Carney's Row was the kind of place... Carney's Row was the kind of place that you smelled and heard first before you saw. It was an explosion of life, chaos, and energy, stocked away, carved out into this little slice of nirvana. The giggling children that called Carney's Row home treated the park like their personal playground. He could remember the sounds of them running between mobile homes, knocking into laundry and causing mayhem. But between the laughter, screams, and whoops of delight, they would all inevitably ask the same thing. What happened to Oogie? Oogie never left. I expect that. I assume that's Ogden. Addendum 1D, Funland. In June 1976. 6 years later. Ugh. Also, you can tell, like, I would have been very surprised if the Hamster Bros was able to keep up an 8-year streak, like how JD Jr. did. I was like, I don't think this is gonna work out. So 3 years is impressive, but like, it's the same time as a person that died. So he, like, you couldn't even break his record. In June 1976, half a decade since the Hamster Bros circus shut down, an unscheduled fanfare was heard in a 4-mile radius surrounding the site of the former parks. The land had been left abandoned with unclear ownership since, according to interviews and public records from the time, locals were unaware of any changes on the front. That assumption was challenged by an individual known as Mr. Funland. Okay, alright. Come on. Wait, come on. Okay, I got it. Come all, feast your eyes on the spectacle that is Funland. The arrival of Dixie Funfair years prior with a modern twist. Lift the nostalgia, the grandeur of days of old, fused with the engineering wonders of the mechanical world. All straight from the mind of our leader, Mr. Funland. Try our delectable confectionaries, from our foot-long ice cream cone to the fun-sized cotton candy. We don't just have sweets, we have some of the most exotic foods adapted to a modern palate, guaranteed to knock your socks off. Believe me, I don't even wear mine anymore. Be amazed by the technological marvels that power each. Sorry, I bit my tongue. That power each attraction. Stare in awe at the living animatronic horses on the lapping carousel, or take a spin in our hover cars. Either way, you're sure to have one of a kind day while here. Oh, and just one more thing. Everybody who works at the park, from the ride attendants to the carnies hosting games in midway, all the way down to our fun-loving janitorial staff, has a secret. They're all robots. Come marvel at the modern technologies built on the foundation of centuries worth of automatons. Each is a masterpiece of modern engineering, faster, more efficient, and more reliable than any human can be. Until they fight against us. So be sure to come on down to Funland, newly reopened. It's sure to be a hit, Mr. Funland. I like that. I like how it's like a little bit like each iteration is trying to build on what was before, trying to make it bigger, better, stronger, but then there's always some issues. Jonathan Dixie just wanted a place that's relaxing for adults to stay, but then JD Jr. also made a place that's fun for children and adults. The Hamster Bros then wanted to make it easy for the circus staff to live there, so that they don't have to care about money that much. They can think about the profit, and then, but yeah, as you saw, they didn't pay. And now, well, what's a way to avoid paying people? Don't have people, have robots. That's gonna happen. That's basically how like a lot of business probably will start thinking. Until we stop it. This recording of Mr. Funland was originally used as both a radio commercial and played through the park's loudspeaker system on the day it reopened. Financial records showed an immediate success. The park itself was laid out as if it had been in previous iterations, but stated the major improvement Funland made was to the rides and staff. Through a combination of historical automaton research, modern animatronic technologies, thermic rights, and the utilization of latent memories already present on the grounds of the park in the creation of synthetic souls to drive the machines, Mr. Funland was able to create staff that were incomparable to any existing animatronics or machines, especially those at this competitor's parks. I'm pretty sure that's like the moment where I'm like, a little bit odd. 1970s with animatronics is like, that's way ahead of its time. These automatons, designated -1, were varied in size, shape, and appearance based on their role or position within Funland, but each shared general traits. Each instance was composed of a base of copper or sheet metal, painted with various non-anomalous paints. Each -1 instance ran on an anomalous power source, seemingly powered by attendance and positive emotions throughout the park. -1 instances were capable of speaking and singing in multiple languages, despite a lack of visible speakers. Similarly, -1 instances were able to ambulate throughout the park without wires, guides, or a connection to a central managing machine. For all intents and purposes, they were distinct individuals. And on opening, Funland received universal acclaim. Guests reportedly loved the range of activities, entertainment, and spectacle provided. While the rides were enjoyable, as were the shows, the main draws were the -1 instances. I wonder why, if the love is in quotes. So I wonder if that's like true or not. Or if that's just literally what they said. Tourists would travel from around the world to view the modern marvels of technology. And the park thrived. So here's also interesting because this is also in quotes, but like it's a double quote, and this one's only one. So again, I'm not sure if if they're saying the truth that they loved it. For the next few years, business would continue at a consistent level of success. The park added an attraction or two, but for the most part did not change. In an interview from March 1978, Mr. Funland was asked what plans he had for celebrating the 25th anniversary of the park's history. You know, I've been asked this question a lot, and finally I want to address it. The parks of the past didn't work, because they were focused on the wrong things. Everybody before me looked at the parks that had come before, and tried to chase what used to work. I reject the nostalgia. I will be better than the parks of the past. Now, yeah, he tried to modify it. You could argue that every single previous owner tried to keep the heart of the park alive, but add their own things to it. And this guy's like, no, freshly new, fully new. The problem was they were too distracted by their own rides, lights, and sounds to see the truth. Children don't want the fun of the past anymore. Kids are bored of clowns, tired of midway games, ready to leave stage shows and boring roller coasters behind. What they want today is technology. They want robots. They want computers. They want video games. And who am I to stop? Yeah, true. The video games does exist in the 70s, like Pong. Who am I to want to stop them? Progress marches on, and we need to keep up. That's why I focus so much on our state-of-the-art robotic employees, the fantastical machines that make Funland, well, Funland. So to answer the question, no, I don't have plans on celebrating the past. As far as I'm concerned, the only thing that matters is the future. The robots who are the beating heart of Funland, they are the future. And then everything goes to shit. The robots fucking explode. That year, park guests began to report numerous issues throughout Funland. Who would have fucking guessed? The rides were breaking down far more frequently than in prior years. In the natural ground, the attractions and concession stands were built and began to slowly overtake the artificial structures, reclaiming the park. Reports of strange interactions with staff, automatons, and animatronics muttering to themselves and getting stuck into non-authorized routines were constant. It was clear to the park goers that something was awry. Yeah. Due to the weird air thing that my throat just did, due to multiple local publications running articles about Funland being haunted and radio hosts waxing poetic about the parks of the past, public opinions began to sour. I mean, JD Jr. did say like the specters of the past, so maybe that's happening here as well. The past iterations are all coming back to be like, you what now? Rumors began to circulate from guests and former employees alike. During this season, the automatons seemed depressed and wistful. Despite these reports and the tangible corrosion of rights and -1 instances, Mr. Funland assured the public that it was business as usual. Never do that. Never do that. if things are going awfully wrong, just be like, okay, we have to shut down for a little bit. Like, don't say like it's business as usual. Everything's fine. Mr. Funland did not appear to do anything to rectify or repair the situation, instead believing that the park was a living being that can revive itself. Well, we did have blood being mentioned, and living being is the second time it's being mentioned. In 1979, well, it's a shame. You could have maybe made it to 1987 and have one of your animatronics bite a child. I don't know why, but I feel like if that happened, your park would have been infamous. Maybe even quoted. Maybe even mentioned in the future where YouTube is a thing. I'm just saying. It's a shame. In 1979, Funland closed its gates permanently and was left abandoned. Rides, midway stalls, and animatronics left to rot. In the following, that's also crazy that every single one of them just left. Like the first one died. He had that was he died. He couldn't really do anything. But JD Jr., the Hamster Bros, and now Mr. Funland, they just fucking left the park by itself. None of them was like, okay, let's at least clean it up a little bit. Let's build the park down and all that stuff. But yeah. In the following years, locals and urban explorers would report the continued reclamation of the park by nature, and perpetuated the belief that the former park was haunted by both former visitors, employees, and even the automatons. It will remain closed for over 30 years, so that's the longest it has been. An automaton from the Galloping Carousel, circa 1979. Look at that. That's, honestly, if a carousel had a horse like that, I as a kid, I would also be like, what? What? That's wicked. There was a metal chain link fence that surrounded the forgotten remains of Funland stood in front of you. A flimsy barrier to those who wished to see the sights. The fence was cut, and as you approached, the metal seemed to curl back, opening wider. It was almost like the park was inviting you in. The night was still, but the air felt electrified. All around you were the remains of the robots that worked here. The stalls that used to be full of life. The rides that were always running. It was unnaturally quiet, feeling almost absent. I think that's also the reason why the robot episode from Scooby-Doo has like I know they're not terrifying or scary, but the concept of an abandoned amusement park is probably a very underrated horror location. We always talk about like abandoned mental asylums, abandoned hospitals, abandoned hotels, and all that stuff. But an abandoned amusement park has its own eeriness to it. You didn't believe the rumors. Oh, don't go there. The park is haunted. Or, you're crazy. I hear the robots come to life and kill you because they are still mad the park closed. There's no way it could be real. The scariest thing here was the rusted metal. Yeah, tetanus. So when you heard groaning machinery and watched as the carousel came to life before your eyes, the grinding gears pushing through the rust, the distorted music mingling with the sounds of automatons that lay dormant, you didn't know what to think. So you ran. That actually is kind of creepy. Going to an abandoned place and suddenly... That's why I'm saying, like, the Scooby-Doo episode of the abandoned amusement park suddenly turning on by itself and everything's active again is eerie. It's eerie. The disembodied laughter and and flickers of other people walking through the abandoned park surround you as you fled. A new spectral figure appearing around each corner. The calliope grew in volume, a taunting melody bleeding through the decrepit remains of Funland as you raced to the exit. As you came to the fence, a voice called out to you. Thanks for visiting our park. We hope to see you again soon. As you shoved through the chain link to escape, in an instant the park and its ghosts were still once more. That is... Oh, no. The idea of like you run because everything's activated, you hear like the noise being so loud, and you hear laughter and flickering, and it's all like this distorted electronic sound, and you finally get through the fence just for all of it like going just quiet. You turn around, nothing's on. Everything stopped. You probably hear just like a small bit of echoes from the sounds traveling the distance you were about to run towards to, but silent. Ooh, that's good. That's very good. And then 1E, Athos Land. Yeah, that's the last one, isn't it? In the spring of 2009, local news channels reported that a group of vandals had broken into the abandoned SCP-821 site and had set up a temporary camp. At first, there was an immediate outcry when reports came in that the group had not destroyed the structures, rather they appeared to be repairing them. Local government officials were unsure how to react. How dare they go in and repair the what? In the following months, as locals debated what should be done, the small group of vandals began to work on a passion project that would rewrite the park and breathe new life into the skeletons that remained of rides, buildings, and the very soul of the park. The vandals were identified as an anomalous artist collective known as AfroFluff, group of interest 4. Okay, their membership. Did we had AfroFluff before in any of my series? I don't think we did. The membership had a variety of different talents and focus, composed of autokinetic sculptors, music-based reality benders, and non-anomalous artists that worked alongside them. I think I do remember them being mentioned. Let me actually double check. What the fuck is this? Okay, it does not look like. I was wrong. Okay, so the one I was thinking of is a different group. But what was this picture? Oh, it's okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The membership had a variety of different talents and long-term UI4 had one goal, according to press releases, to turn the abandoned fairgrounds into a celebration of art, imagination, and a monument to the memories of the past. And here we have the abandoned Ferris wheel, pre-restoration, March 2009. Foundation research was unable to identify how AFOS gained possession of the park. County records showed the deed being placed into the name by April 2009, with a note saying it was a charitable endowment from Mr. Funland to the artists of the future. Over the next few months, construction barricades would appear surrounding the park, obstructing the view of what was being done inside. On June 17, 2009, the park would open, posters and flyers having appeared in local buildings, business storefronts, and in mailboxes throughout the surrounding counties and township. For decades, Dixie Fun Fair delighted guests, though it would be known as many different names throughout its life. Whether it was Funland or the Hamster Bros Circus, one thing stayed the same. The people and automatons that worked, lived, and stayed at the park with a true soul. We remember them, see their stories, walk in their shoes. They are still here, just waiting. Avos Land is not like the parks of the past. We're not trying to be better or different. We're not reinventing things. We're not creating the best attractions with the newest technology and shiny bells and whistles. We are artists, and we are bringing this place back to life. Everything was already here, just waiting for an audience. We have simply given the park a second chance. Come to see a place of dreams, magic, art, but most of all, memories. At the debut, Avos Land featured a variation of every attraction from throughout the history of the park. This included, but was not limited to, the following major section of the park: the Artist's Way. The Artist's Way featured vendors selling handmade products and classic carnival games mixed with modern artistic reinterpretation. The Pleasure Garden. The Pleasure Gardens featured a mixture of natural and anomalous flora, anomalous and non-anomalous sculptures, and anomalous sensory input. God, this is you are overloading this park with so much shit. Remember, the whole point is like the park is not supposed to be modified or changed, because it definitely adds everything to its soul, to the blood. So adding anomalous flowers, great. That's not gonna go wrong whatsoever. The AfroFluff Land stage, built from the original pavilion. The AfroFluff Land stage featured musical performance by the all-copper brass metal band, a music group made of acclaimed -1 instances, anomalous magic shows, plays, and more. Funland Alley, a collection of rides that were restored and modified using the base rides combined with -1 instances and autokinetic creations. Funland Alley was full of lights, noise, and unique attractions. -1 instances would often be integrated directly into the rides, for example, the AfroFluff Land Speedster, where the ride cars were replaced by -1 instances from the former galloping carousel, so that every rider was seated on the back of the an autonomous horse that raced along the roller coaster track. Carney's Corner, built on the former location of Carney's Row, Carney's Corner was a mixture of human and robotic performers with modern and artistic interpretation of classic circus performers. Yeah, I said that right. This location also offered a permanent housing to any and all members of the AfroFluff Land staff, just as it had in the past. Yeah, so this is like definitely a mixture of everything, with its own twist again. But yeah, a mixture of everything. AfroFluff Land was a minor financial success, while the individuals who attended reported the experience as life-changing and fantastical. Due to the aftershocks of the major recession, attendance was low. The park struggled to remain profitable due to competition from better established themed entertainment options. As AfroFluff Land was unable to match the scale or scope of their competitors, they struggled financially and were unable to grow, as all profits went to supporting the staff and artists that lived in the park. So here we go. Here's the different. We had Hamster Bros who tried to not pay the staff as much as possible and keep it cheap, but then like got in trouble with a lot of other stuff because they didn't know how to organize it. These people try to be fair to everybody, be fair to every rendition of the park, but they ran out of money. Following 3 years of financial hardship, in 2012, the founding members of AfroFluff Land reached a decision. To keep the park relevant, they would need to collaborate with other artists, organizations, and communities. Oh boy. Oh no. That's exactly the opposite of what you want with this SCP. More modification, more connections, more! To this end, they reached out to the theater group known for unique installations and devised stage shows, Pseudogenesis Productions. Pseudogenesis Productions and the team at AfroFluff Land would collaborate on a massive interactive theatrical experience that was described as the soul of AfroFluff Land brought to life once more. When the park opened in summer 2013, their project was already completed. On the opening day, before the inaugural performance, Stephanie Pseudo, the director and founding member of Pseudogenesis Productions, was in attendance. What follows is an excerpt from her speech before Life Continued debuted. Life Continued is not your standard theme park performance. It is not just a play, not just a thrilling stage show, and not just empty entertainment. Life Continued is AfroFluff Land, but so much more than just that. It is Dixie, Hampstead, and Funland, not as we remember them, but as they remember themselves, through the memories and souls that lingered. From the point forward, Life Continued will persist as long as the park remains. Neither rain, nor hail, nor apocalypse, nor containment will be able to stop the park from being the performers. The performers are the park, the stage is the park, and the core is the park. Echoes of those that have come before, lives forgotten, screams, joys, and laughter that were heard throughout the decades that this park has provided entertainment to thousands of guests. All are represented in Life Continued. Oh, and one more thing. The spirits and memories that dwell here may be true, but do not be alarmed as nothing you see is real. It is all fiction, we're all part of the performance. Trust your soul and listen to your gut. See the magic as it unfolds before your very eyes. Become a part of the show of the ever-growing tapestry that is AfroFluff Land. AfroFluff Land. Oh, by the way, if you see ghosts, it ain't real, bro. Don't worry about it. Life Continued, also known as -A, is an ongoing mimetic phenomenon affecting the entire park, fueled by a manipulated hermeneutic core that is believed to have been present on the ground since the late 1600s. -A causes echoes or semi-transparent apparitions of individuals from the history of the park to appear and relive a given moment in time from their lives. They are intangible but are capable of interacting with structures that existed during the time at the park. These echoes are not consistent between performances, taking varying shapes and forms, each instance going through a specific routine from the time at the park. Notable instances include A2. A2 is often seen wandering through the pleasure garden, sitting on benches and smiling as they watch guests walk by. If approached by a child, they will procure a button through an unknown method and present it to the child as a souvenir. This button matches those given out circa 1965. This instance is reported to resemble Jonathan Dixie. Yeah, I assume all the different owners of the park are showing up now. A7 is a short figure appearing under specific circumstances. They can first be seen exiting a trailer in Connie's Corner before moving into the park. A7 will seek out lost children who are alone, grabbing their hands. Those lost children are escorted by A7 to the security officers before dissipating. Based on the description given by lost children, A7 is presumed to have formerly been Ogden Hampstead. Yeah, because Ogden was the only one that stayed at the park, right? Which makes me wonder, like, is it does JD Jr. count? Because he left. Is it all the people that stayed? I guess not, because I assume Ogden did not stay and die at the park's location. I assume he, after a while, just went somewhere else. A23 resembles a gorilla automaton that was well-known ride operator at Funland. Each evening at 7 p.m., A23 will manifest in Funland Alley before beating its chest and roaring at the gathered crowds. It will procure fun-sized cotton candy through unknown means before jumping across concession stands and attractions to reach the Ferris wheel, despite no longer being offered as a concession at the park. Okay. So he's just giving rare snacks. Like, okay. Upon reaching the attraction, the A23 will scale the structure before stopping at the apex and interacting playfully with guests who are on the ride. This instance will dematerialize after a variable period of time between 8:05 p.m. and 9:15 p.m. Following the initial performance of Life Continued, AfroFluff saw a 400% increase in ticket sales and a major increase in press coverage. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, like, the amount of shit that's happening there, who's not going to be interested? Non-anomalous news reports marveled at the projections in disbelief of the advanced technology used. Due to this mistaken belief, active containment by the Foundation was not required, instead prioritizing continued observation. So the Foundation was like, oh, it might just be projections. Maybe. Is that what it says? Active containment by the Foundation was not required, instead prioritizing continued. Yeah, so they just prioritize keeping an eye on it. Despite the new groundbreaking show, it was not enough to change the financial turmoil the park was facing. After 2 more years of operation, on the closing day of the 50th season, the following announcement was made throughout the park. Beloved guests, dearest employees, and the many spirits who remain, despite our best efforts, we are unable to resolve things as we would like, and are therefore forced to make the following announcement. Today is the final day of operation of AfroFluff. Due to financial pressure and our refusal to pay below a livable wage, we are left with no option but to cease park operation. It is our hope that this place will not be forgotten, and maybe someday in the future it will turn bigger and stronger than ever. Thanks for 50 years of visiting our collective parks. We hope to see you again. Until then, all we have left are memories. I mean, I respect AfroFluff a lot more because, like, they at least were like, we're gonna pay more than livable wage, which is like, nobody does that. Unless, like, you have a really, like, awesome, like, financially you're, like, really stable, and the boss is like, yeah, no, I'll pay you a lot more than what the minimum wage or livable wage is. Yeah, no problem. Which, when is the last time you heard that? When is the last time you heard a boss going like, I'll pay you way more than you need? Following the announcement, SB 821 was abandoned and entered Foundation containment within the following months. While there have been no attendees or employees on the grounds, -A persisted to present day with a notable decrease in the number and visibility of -A instances as time passed. That's what it did say, like 87%, 68%. And entering Foundation containment, no new -A instances has been noted. Research on both remaining -1 instances and -A itself have been paused due to the pending neutralization of the anomaly. Research on how to reverse or delay this neutralization effect has been ceased, as the Foundation is unable to identify a method that would successfully reverse the effect other than reopening the park. This option has been rejected due to the threat it will present to the Veil. It is estimated that SCP-821 will be neutralized by 2030 at the latest. Well, in 2030, Uncle Nicolini and Curious, in 2030, you gotta write another section like it's neutralized. You have to. So is that what it's saying here with like pending neutralize with the second? Yeah. Well, you know what I'm trying to say. There was something about the smell of the earth. There was something about the smell of the earth here. After it rained, there wasn't just pretty cool. No, it was much more than that. The ground smelled odd, permanent, enduring. Whenever it rained, it would inevitably smell of cotton candy and popcorn. When the wind blew, shutters would close and memories would huddle in the degrading structures that barely stood upright. When the sun shone, the park would come to life, full of laughter and children. As the moon came out, the parks of artists commingle with carnies, performers, and passionate few who dedicate their lives to this place. Each night, there's a celebration. Each day, there's a memorial. And one day, the only thing we have left will be the memories from those who visited, enjoyed the park, and the pictures they took. All will be quiet at Dixie's Pleasure Garden, just as it had always been. Entertainment on the edges. And here we have like, for one moment I thought those were two people, but it's just like, here we have the Ferris wheel. This was awesome. This was really well done. There we go. No, I really had a good time with this. Not only did you, even though it took me an hour to read, it did not feel like an hour. This was a really well written story. I really liked. I think it's really cool that you said like, okay, we don't want it to be modified anymore, and then you write stories of how like it has changed every single time somebody else took over, which makes you realize like, oh shit, all that is going like, it stacks. Like it's like more and more and more and more, and now the Foundation just has to like keep this thing in check. Nobody can walk in, take over, and try to make something new out of it. And I also like how, I'm not sure if it was explained and I've just forgotten. I kind of like how, actually it did say like something pulls you in, right? Like it was like the park pulled you in. So I like the idea. I forgot I didn't activate that light. Oh well. I like the idea that the park is always meant to fail. It's always meant to fail, and somebody else is always meant to come in and take over. Because then that allows the park, the enormous effect to happen, to grow, to like, okay, let me take over, let me change how this works, let me try something different. Because like you can tell, because the park never was never active for a double digit decade, like double digit time. You know what I mean? It was never 10 years. It was always below 10 years, and a lot of times below 5 years. So of course, every single person that would try to take over the park looked at those times and be like, okay, that didn't work out. It clearly didn't work out because of this reason, that reason, that reason. Let me do something different. So it's really cool that there's like that there is some anomalous effect that makes the park guaranteed to fail, just so that somebody else is guaranteed to come in, take over, try something different, adding a different aspect to it, which adds to the park's like, to the stack of anomalous situation of like ghosts, walking robots, spirits, all that stuff. Anomalous flowers, fauna, flora, all that stuff. I think that's really cool. It was really fun to read each different moment, and of course it's also cool to just see how you guys, you two really gave solid reasons why the park failed. Like the first one is the simplest one. The owner dies. Like, yeah, what are you gonna do? The second one is the junior taking over, but he feels like he's not doing a good job. Even though he's being successful, he's like, I'm not happy with myself. I'm not happy with what I'm becoming. Fair. That's very fair. Like the responsibility of taking over a father's work, over a parent's work, trying to keep it the same, but knowing that you can't. Then people who really love the working there, but have their own ideas, their own ways of doing things, taking over. Then somebody who's like, I will revolutionize this place. Don't haunt the past, chase the future. So yeah, I think that's really cool. I think you guys did a really good job, and I hope this will get a lot more attention. I hope this video will help this SCP coming out. Everybody who watches this video to the end, please, if you have an account on the SCP Foundation and you like the story, be honest with yourself. Give it a plus. Help them out, like getting more attention. Because I don't have an account here, but I hope this helps spreading the story around. I probably will post it around other medias as well. But other than that, I would say this was pretty good. So this video is now coming to an end. I still have to record some more stuff because there's more sub goals that have been achieved. But yeah, curious, I'll talk to you on Discord once this is out. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I gave this this story justice with my reading. And also Uncle Nicolini, sorry. Nicolino is somebody else in my life. Nicolini, again, you two, and Anonymous, you three, awesome job. Fantastic job. I really enjoyed this. Well, the Afro is with you all, and wishes you all good morning, afternoon, evening. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.